The House Transportation, Mobility, and Infrastructure Committee will come to order. Would the clerk please take attendance?
Chair Shannon.
Present.
Representatives McDonald. Present. Coleman.
Here.
Conlon.
Here.
Farhat.
Here.
Fitzgerald.
Here.
Hoskins.
Here.
Millard.
Here.
Outman.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Bruck. Kuntz.
Here.
St. Germain. Here. Mr. Chair, you have 12 members present. You do have a quorum.
Thank you. I need a motion to adopt minutes from the last meeting, May 9th. Vice Chair McDonald makes that motion. Seeing no opposition, the minutes are adopted. Today on the agenda, we'll be taking up testimony on the grade separation package and then voting out the bills we took testimony on last week, House Bills 4515, 4352, and 4353. To get started on the grade separation package, I would like to invite up Representative Jamie Churches. Thank you for introducing these bills. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Shannon. Today I'm here to testify on House Bills 4152 and 4153. This is something that means a lot to my district and to me personally. So together, these bills would create a statewide grade separation program and outline priority parameters for the selection of projects that receive grants. So we all know what train crossings are, and our state has many of them. Southeastern Michigan especially has a lot more than other places in the state. So, and before I begin, we have substitutions for both bills, and these substitutions simplify the guidelines for selecting projects for grant funding, so it makes it easier for local municipalities to apply for these grants. My colleague in Senate District 4 has worked very hard on this legislation over the past 4 years. And me being a newer legislator, I have worked in partnership with him because I want to help him get it across the finish line. Grade separations essentially would, so the best train crossing, the safest train crossing is no train crossing. But that is not how our state has been created. Our state is old, our infrastructure is old, and it is up to us as legislators and as leaders in our community to try and develop a community that pushes into the future and tries to make our state a little bit safer and a little bit more convenient for our constituents. There is the most pressing concern with train crossings is a public health issue. Many, in my district especially, there is a double train crossing at 2 roads that blocks Beaumont Hospital. This train crossing has been stopped for over 3 hours at a certain point. There is a lot of industry downriver, and we're very proud to have that, but there are the big threes downriver, there's other very large businesses. We have we have these trains that they're dropping off really important cargo, but our people are very important too. And we need to make sure that ambulances, our firefighters, our police officers, and other first responders have a very safe way to transport these constituents in times of need. And when we have a double train crossing and ambulances are stopped, it is not okay. It is also a hindrance to our economic development downriver and places across the state, because there are times where businesses decide to move elsewhere because of the inconvenience. And then for our constituents, it is also an inconvenience. So I grew up on an island, Grosse Ile, and you have to leave via bridge. And sometimes, well, for a long time, the county bridge was closed because of infrastructure problems, so you have to leave and pay the toll bridge. One day, I was literally leaving. I couldn't use the free bridge. I had to drive 10 minutes the other direction, use the toll bridge. You have to pay a toll that's greater than the Ambassador Bridge to cross it. There was traffic, but I had to wait because it was turned so that a boat could cross. So I waited at the bridge crossing, and then I got off the bridge to be stuck at a train. And then there was more road construction. So Michigan knows what it's like to be inconvenienced by these things. But the first and foremost is public safety. of our residents and making sure that they are not stopped when they need vital care. Even last week in our district, I noticed on Senator from the 4th District's Twitter feed, he retweeted something that happened in our district, and there was a man passing out water bottles at a train crossing in our district. This is something that the residents of Downriver are accustomed to. This is what they're used to. This isn't what they should have to do. So we want to start innovating for the future, and we want to recognize this first as a problem and then come up with solutions. So these bills would identify these vital train crossings and develop a fund so that we can work to ensure that we are starting to invest in this and develop these crossings into places that they are not going to be stopped. So, and I also hope that this legislation is bipartisan, because this isn't about politics, this is about people. This legislation offers a way in which we can improve public safety, support economic development, and lessen the burden of being stuck by a train so we can keep Michigan moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Church. We do have one question
Yes.
so far. Representative Roth.
Why am I the only question always? Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. Representative, thank you. I did support this last term, and so only question I have, and I don't know if you can answer or not.
If not, we will find the answer and we will email you.
That would be great. I understand the criteria, what we're going to look at first, but what I'd like to have is a full plan for the state.
Yes.
Because I know there's one in the UP, there's one in Wixom, that may not have some of the criteria that's listed here.
Okay.
So I'd like to see the full list of projects delineated on this so we know after we've done the priorities, and I have no problem, I understand your district. And Darren was very clear, the senator, good senator now, about those issues, and I'm fully supportive, but I would like to make sure that it doesn't stop after these few.
No, we don't have that at this time, so there's no information for me to share, but that is something that we really want to focus on developing. And no matter what district it is, we just want to make sure that we're servicing the districts in need first, and working from there and using
Yep.
what we can with the money that we do have
Right.
to make movement across our great state.
And I'm fine with that, I just want to make sure we have a long-term plan to go with this too.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you.
Of course. Next up, we have Kevin Kraus, Director of Safety and Development with the City of Romulus. Thank you for coming in again. I remember seeing you maybe last term.
Good morning, legislators of the great state of Michigan. I am honored and privileged to be before you again this morning as the Director of Community Safety and Development for the great city of Romulus, home of opportunity and host of the Detroit Metro Airport. And I mention the airport because Romulus has identified its strengths and weaknesses, and one thing we have learned through that process is that we are a hub for transportation. Planes, trains, automobiles, pipelines run through our city on a daily basis, and we understand that, and we understand the impacts that those have, and we understand that there's two sides to every story, and there's industry, and there's also the balance between public safety and commerce. And because of that, I think we've developed good working relationships with those different industries, and we continue to work with them to find ways to move forward and with sensible safety plans and sensible legislation in order to accomplish what both sides want to accomplish within these bills. We absolutely support House Bill 4153 and 4152. I've been an advocate of this for almost 20 years of my career in public safety. Shortly after leaving the military, I worked for a private ambulance company, and I'm going to share a brief story in regards to that. Some of you before me may have heard me talk about this in some of our downriver meetings and think tanks about this problem over the years. But while working for that ambulance company, I was called to the Southgate YMCA for a 21-year-old male who was having a rapid heart rate on the basketball court. We arrived, we started providing initial care, and during that time, while we were loading and packaging that patient and getting him into the ambulance, he went into cardiac arrest. Because it was a witnessed arrest and we had the capabilities there, we were able to defibrillate this patient and revive him. On the way to Henry Ford Wyandotte Hospital, which is on North Line or turns into Ford Line as you cross into Wyandotte, we have the infamous triple tracks that are down there in the downriver area. And upon approaching those tracks, the tracks were already blocked. And we stopped at that location. And during the time we were stopped, about 7 minutes into that stoppage, the patient went back into cardiac arrest. We had to make a decision. We decided to stay because we were already 7 minutes into this blockage. My alternative was to go back to Fort Street, head south to Eureka, go to the grade separation to Biddle, and then back up to Henry Ford Wyandotte. Altogether, we sat at those tracks for approximately 14 minutes. When we got to the hospital, patient was still in cardiac arrest, and unfortunately, he did not make it because of his cardiac event. The telltale from that point in my career was I printed off that summary from that heart monitor. And it from the time we put him on that heart monitor at the YMCA until the time we turned over patient care to the hospital, the doctor was able to look at all the interventions that we did and look at all the times and everything's documented. He literally said to me during that time, that train killed this patient. And I know that's a bit dramatic, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, for effect or anything, but it was that point in my career that the train issue went on my radar, and it's been on my radar for the 20 years thereafter. There are very few incidents that I can go back and think of that are etched in my mind that involve any other type of automobile or transportation other than train incidents. I've been on derailments, I've been on train versus vehicles, I've been on train versus pedestrians, I've been stopped multiple times at train tracks during the response to house fires and other medical emergencies. And what I can say is that all of those times that I can just spill off to you today, I'm just one first responder. Multiple first responders have experienced this throughout their careers as well. So I say all of that to say that these bills are very important for not only the Western Wayne and Downriver communities, but the entire state of Michigan. Because if we're experiencing here in the Downriver 39 communities in Western Wayne, I know the entire state of Michigan is experiencing them as well, all the way to the UP, all the way to the west side, and back to southeastern Michigan. We've worked on these bills, and I've worked with Senator Camilleri and multiple individuals in the House to get these bills to where they are today, and I hope it does have bipartisan support. From an economic standpoint, as I'm transitioning later in my career and helping out our new mayor with economic development, I can tell you that we work, we just had a meeting with Aerotropolis, with Scannell developers, and with CSX in regards to some development along our railroads. But we go into those meetings very hesitant because of the issues that we see in that area and making sure that we find a solution to these issues prior to, supporting and moving forward with additional development, which, that's a direct case of economic development impact because of the train crossings. Aside from all of that, I have watched over the course of my career people park vehicles and jump through stop trains in order to get into a manufacturer and punch in on time, right? Because the manufacturers really don't have too much leniency or compassion when it comes to punching in late. It's all a point system. You're either there or you're not, and you're either producing or you're not. So I've seen the impact of these trains across multiple facets of industry and safety for our community. And, throughout those 20 years, I've also watched these trains grow in length and duration and time of the blockages. So I hope that we were able to come together, both sides of the aisle and also both sides of industry and private municipal sector, and find some sensible solutions to this and move forward. I'm hoping to see, I might not see it built, but I'm hoping to see a grade separation approved for our jurisdiction prior to my retirement in 5 years. Thank you. Any questions? I'm sorry.
Thank you, Director. I do have one question so far. Minority Vice Chair Outman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for being here today, sir. Perhaps I should have asked the bill sponsor this question, but since you have the bill in front of you, I'm going to ask you. Looking on page 3 here, lines 17 through 23.
For which bill, sir?
4152.
5-2.
So it says here that the money can be used for various things. One, a grade separation, or two, rail siding or spur. Can you differentiate those three things and explain what is the difference between a rail separation or a rail siding or spur?
So in our jurisdiction, we are just south of our jurisdiction in here on Township. There is a yard, and any of those spurs, you have the main line coming through, and then a spur will come off, and they'll be able to stack additional trains or break trains down, and it runs parallel to the main line.
Oh, I see.
So there may be an opportunity to stage or break a train apart and park part of it on that spur, so it doesn't block that actual railroad crossing or road crossing.
Okay. And rail siding and spur, those are used interchangeably. That's
I believe so. I'm not an expert in the industry by any means, but I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
it's next to the main line.
now when we're talking about a full grade separation. What are we talking about there?
Either road over under or railroad over under. You know, depending on which one engineering wise makes sense. And usually the road will go under or over, a bridge over or underneath.
Gotcha. Thank you for helping me understand that. Appreciate it.
And I will say that we do have an expert in the industry coming up, so if you wanted to ask your question again, Representative Outman, you'd have an opportunity. Thank you so much for your testimony. Appreciate it. Continuing on, we have virtual testimony from Christine Donahue at Corewell Health in Trenton in support of the bill package. Christine, there you are. Floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Chair Shannon and members of the committee for allowing me the privilege to testify today in support of House Bill 4152 and 4153. My name is Christine Donahue, and I am currently the president of Corewell Health, formerly known as Beaumont Health, Taylor, Trenton, and Wayne Hospitals. I'm very excited to be here today and speak on an issue that we have been working on with Senator Camilleri, and now also Representative Churches for frankly the last few years, which is a comprehensive rail crossing grade separation program. So I'm sure you all may be curious, what's a health system's interest in transportation and grade separation? Well, if you've ever been down to the downriver communities, you likely have been stuck in traffic. It is almost like a rite of passage in our communities. Being stuck in traffic is at times a nuisance and creates a barrier for our community members, causing them to be late for work, children to be late for school, our community members missing important appointments, and causes tensions to run quite high. Those traffic backups, however, also cause ambulances to be stuck in traffic waiting for railroad crossings to clear. Or many times they have to completely divert to avoid a train stoppage and the corresponding traffic jams due to the stoppage, which is a safety issue for our community to receive the necessary medical care that they need. Staff responding to these emergencies like heart attacks and traumas also suffer with these delays as they are en route to provide that time-saving and life-saving care. The average stoppage has been over 9 minutes. However, many delay occurrences have reached beyond 2 hours, which in the world of healthcare can make the difference between life and death. You see, in the world of healthcare, time is tissue. The more time that passes in receiving life-saving care, the more critical the care becomes in ensuring a positive outcome or avoiding a negative outcome. I can give you 2 examples of both instances, actually. Recently, an ambulance transporting a 6-year-old victim of a near drowning was delayed en route to the emergency room at Corewell Health Trenton Hospital. While this young patient survived, and in this case, the worst case scenario was avoided, the outcome could have been very different and utterly tragic. Such is the case a few years back, a patient was en route to the Trenton Hospital with a brain bleed after suffering a head injury from a fall at home. First responders were delayed by a train stoppage for over 20 minutes. Unfortunately, this patient ended up passing away from his injury. This patient's family, the hospital staff, and countless other trauma patients live with the tormenting question whether these tragedies could have turned out differently for their loved one if the emergency responders had not been delayed. Hoping to change the reality for these patients, their families, and quite frankly, my staff who provide quality care to our community, yet continue to question if they could have saved a life if only they had a few more minutes. That is why I'm here today supporting House Bill 4152 and 4153. Thank you again to the committee, Chair Shannon and Representative Churches for this opportunity to be here today and your attention to this very important issue. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have, or actually even continue dialogue with you and your staff following today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Donahue. Doesn't look like we have any questions. Thank you so much for your testimony today.
Thank you.
And I will just say that these stories are really starting to, hit home, and this really is an issue that we probably don't think too much about if we're not living around an issue like this. But just something to think about as we move forward into next week. So up next we have, I'm sorry, I need my glasses here. We have testimony from John Cool from the Michigan Railroad Association. John, if you want to join us up here, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairs Altman, McDonald, and members of the committee. Appreciate you reviewing this legislation here today. On behalf of the 29 freight railroad companies that do operate in Michigan, I am pleased to be here in support of these bills that would create a local grade separation program. Vice Chair Altman, to follow up on the question that you asked, a spur is the track that pulls you off the main line and goes into that ag facility to load grain cars. A siding is if a train wants to get off the mainline track and it parallels, but basically a train can pull over and get out of the way. So the distinction with that. I would like to thank Rep. Jamie Churches for her hard work on this issue so far this session, for joining this conversation, and for Senator Camilleri in his recent years for all the work that he has put into this infrastructure solution as well. In 2018, Governor Eric Holcomb of Indiana signed into law funding for the local tracks grade separation program. Governor Holcomb's plan included $125 million to tackle congested rail crossings in the Hoosier State. Soon thereafter, the Michigan Railroads Association began a discussion in Lansing around this policy idea. Should we have a local grade separation program here? Are there communities in our state that would benefit from a grade separation project? Conversations ensued with Governor Whitmer's policy team, MDOT, from the director down to multiple offices within the department, the legislature, each side of the aisle along the way, and a diverse stakeholder coalition that included, just to name some, law enforcement, firefighters, automakers, business association, manufacturers, environmental groups, regional planning organizations, local governments, and others. In August 2019, we participated in a Congresswoman Debbie Dingell discussion in Dearborn, in which we advocated for newly introduced grade separation policy here in Lansing. We were part of a solution to this issue at the event that day in Dearborn. We are hopeful, this has been a bipartisan positive discussion in recent years on this public infrastructure topic. This is not exclusively a railroad question. The previous votes on these bills in the House and Senate have been nearly unanimous along the way. We are hopeful that these bills will reach the governor's desk this year. We have come very close in last couple of years here. Again, we appreciate the hard work of Rep. Churches and Senator Camilleri on this solution, and we thank you for your consideration here today, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. Representative Roth.
Why is there laughter?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair Shannon. What happened to the funding, John? Did it not get approved last year?
It made its way through most of the process, and then at the very end, it did not make it to the finish line.
Okay, we need to get it to the finish line. Yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
I would agree. Any other questions from committee members? Thank you so much, John. I do have some cards to read in, several cards, so. Okay, so first of all, not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Jocelyn Hill from Conrail. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Mike Spence from the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, SEMCOG. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Ron Brennicky, American Council of Engineering Companies. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Mike Aliamo, Michigan Chamber of Commerce. Sorry about that, Mike. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Judy Allen from the Michigan Townships Association. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Matt Sowash from POAM, Police Officers Association of Michigan. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Troy Hagon from MDOT. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, John Lamakia from MML. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Dave Worthens from the Michigan Manufacturers Association. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Madeline Fatah from the Michigan Association of Counties. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Megan Blue from Corewell Health. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Mike Sauger, president of the FOP. And then we have a couple from email. We have, William Coaster from the Northwest Michigan Transportation Consortium in support, obviously not wishing to speak. Not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Mac Dashney from Pupil Transportation Operations and Management Institute. Okay, thank you everyone for your testimony today. Moving on to the votes that we have on our agenda today, we're going to be getting started with House Bill 4515. So I need a motion to report House Bill 4515 with recommendation. Rep. Hoskins makes that motion. Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon,
Yes.
Representatives McDonald,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Farhat,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Outman,
Yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Bruck, Kuntz,
Yes.
St. Germain.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 12 yeas, no nays, no pass. The bill is reported with record.
House Bill 4515 is reported with recommendation. Next up is the HOV lane package House Bills 4352 and 4353. We do have a couple cards. Not wishing to speak in support of the bill, Mike Spence from SEMCOG. And not wishing to speak in support of the bills, Ron Brennicky from the American Council of Engineering Companies. So I need a motion to report House Bill 4352 with recommendation. Rep. Miller makes that motion. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon,
Yes.
Representatives McDonald,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Farhat,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Outman,
Pass.
Roth,
Yes.
Bruck, Kuntz,
No.
St. Germain.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yeas, 1 nay, 2 pass. The bill is reported with recommendation.
House Bill 4352 is reported with recommendation. Last, we're going to be voting on House Bill 4353, and I'm offering a substitute H1. This substitute reverses a change regarding oversight of trunk line highways. Can I get a motion to adopt the substitute? Rep. Farhat makes that motion. Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
On the motion to adopt the H1 substitute, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Farhat.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Outman.
Yes.
Roth.
Yes.
Bruck. Kuntz.
Pass.
You say pass?
I did pass.
St. Germain.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas, no nays, 1 pass. The H1 is adopted.
The substitute is adopted. I need a motion to report House Bill 4353 with recommendation as substituted. Substitute H1, Rep. Conlon makes that motion. Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Farhat.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Outman.
Pass.
Roth.
Yes.
Bruck. Kuntz.
No.
St. Germain.
Pass.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yeas, 1 nay, 2 passes. The bill is reported as substitute H1.
House Bill 4353 is reported with recommendation as substituted H1. There being no further, we have no absent members today, correct? And we do have one. But, he didn't join us. Okay. So I need a motion to excuse absent members. Representative Outman moves to excuse absent members. There being no objection, the motion prevails by unanimous consent. There being no further business before the committee will stand adjourned.